Welcome, everybody. Episode 10, double digits of the Straight Talk Commerce podcast. Very excited to be back with my boys. A lot happened this week. A lot of AI, just all the stuff going on with products, ways to use e-commerce, marketing. It almost seems like each week there's just new tools, new ideas, so many things happening. Ian, let me kick it over to our host to get us rolling. Ian, over to you.
Yeah, no, thank you, Dave, and happy Friday to all those that are listening. Oh no, we won't be posting this today. That's okay. Happy Friday.
We post on Wednesday, but you're right. It Friday. It is Friday. That's yeah.
So for today, we have an amazing topic. We're going to be talking about gaining new customers for a small business, right? So how do you get new customers to get that pipeline going? And really happy that we have two experts here today, Wayne and Dave, to walk us through this. So let's jump right in. The first one, I can actually need use some help on this, is improve online presence. So Wayne, what are some of the things that folks can do? Let's start with the super basic stuff. Like for small business, you're just getting started. How do you improve? Let's start with a website. Okay. Do you need to spend a lot for a website? How do you make it look clean? What would you do if you had to start your website today, Wayne?
Okay, so no, you don't have to spend gobs and gobs of money, no matter how many email you get to the contrary. It does take some planning if you want to do it right from the beginning, and that's easier than changing on the fly. So you want to plan, you want to know what niche you're in, niche, however you want to say it. You want to make a plan, have a plan of the keywords that you want to use, that you want to go after. If you do those things at the beginning, you do not have to chase your tail for a long time. However, I will say that this is an ongoing process. It is not a once and done kind of thing. You are constantly going to have to go in and change things. And by the way, the only way to be able to do that is if you're measuring. So you want to make sure, yes, your SEO is fine. Yes, your website looks professional, but you better have some way of measuring performance, or you're going to be directionless. There'll be no rudder whatsoever, and you'll be floating around from place to place trying to find an acorn. It's a mess. It's a mess.
Absolutely. And Dave, Witty is actually a beautiful website, and I love how you have all of the color patterns and the themes. It just looks uniform, and even if you haven't read everything, if you see the site, you know you're on a Witty site. Was that intentional, Dave, or is that something that just kind of grew over time? How did you set up the Witty website?
Well, look, I mean, our site has evolved over
Right.
35 years of Witty. There was no web when we started. I think our first website was in 96,
Oh, wow.
97, or at least the first one that's on the Wayback Machine. Yeah, it's evolved, right? And certainly, we have some, we have databases that power a lot of dynamic data, running our event registration, membership. But just, excuse me, building out the responsive templates. And now if we start it today, it might be a Wix or Word.
WordPress.
Thank you. Right. Thank you. Because right, because I was almost
I thought you were just trying to get us to approve Word.
I almost
Listen,
I almost said Word Perfect. So I was thinking about early in the software industry.
Microsoft.
You running for president, Dave?
Exactly. So it's like
very hard.
So look, I think that Did we do it on purpose? Certainly the color schemes. If you know, when you go to our summit page for our summit coming up in October, we do use a WordPress interface for that. That interfaces with the back end. But I think the original question is if you were just starting out, what would you use? And there
Right.
are just some amazing tools out there. Shopify, Wix,
Yeah.
WordPress,
Right.
plugins, right? So, you know, and then you don't have to worry about designing it for mobile because that's just automatic. You don't have to worry about accessibility because that's just a plugin that's going to take care of it.
And yet there are still companies just starting out, have no idea whether their idea is going to go, that are getting talked into $10,000 to $100,000 websites. Absolutely drives me insane. And I'll tell you something else, Dave, about your witty website. My kids used to play this penguin game, and I can't remember off the top of my head what the name of that game was, but I went to the Wayback Machine. I took a look at the witty, and that's the way things were done. This is not, it made me smile. But I remember them going to this, and my kids are now in college, but they would go to this website. I would pay a membership, and it reminded me so much of the way Witty's website was set up. So it was definitely in the time, is my point. It not only did Witty's website evolve, but the web evolved, and that's why you evolved. Does that make sense? We all, this whole thing evolves over time. So the first website you put together is by no means, if you make it 35 years, okay, it is never going to, better not look like it did back in those times. But I remember looking at that the other day and just getting a chuckle because, yeah, that's the way we did things.
Well, and just the numerous browsers out there. You know, we just put up our 30th anniversary membership special where you buy a membership, you get to give one to a friend or colleague. So we put the banner on one of the pages. On Safari, it looks like this. On Firefox, it looks like this. On Chrome, it looks like that.
Yeah.
Apparently, I had to, so I think some of it was caching for me, but look, right, you can save yourself a lot of headaches. Start simple. Once the money starts pouring in, you can start maybe going down some of these roads. But again, even just having a plan, because like you're saying, Wayne, 10,000, 50K, 100K, then you might get to the end and you really hadn't thought about it. Plus, now with AI, by the time you get there, everything's changed.
My best advice that I give all the time to people just starting in business, doesn't matter how long they've been in business, other businesses. The best way to tell if someone has your best interest at heart is if they start making suggestions like that, like, okay, you're going to start this business and you need a $10,000 website, and so cut me a check. If you run into someone like that, that is your key thing to let you know they do not have your best interests at heart. Any professional in this business that suggests that you need to spend $10,000 to $50,000 to $100,000 for a website and you're not even sure if your idea is going to fly, they don't have your best interest at heart.
Yeah.
100%. Buyer beware for sure. Now, before we go to social media, I'd love for you guys to talk about what are the 3 things that you need to have on your website. A lot of people focus on the design, the animation, the dynamics, but in terms of content, if you had to have 3 things that needs to be crystal clear on your website, what would that be, Wayne?
Who you are needs to be, and by the way, that's going to evolve anyway.
Right.
And your message to your customers is gonna evolve. So, look, really what you wanted, and by the way, we were just talking about this, an attractive website today in 5 years is not going to be an attractive website. So, and I'm not saying don't pay attention to this. I most certainly am saying pay attention to it. But very rarely do we use certain aspects, like Flash. Flash used to be a huge thing. Not so much anymore. There There are elements that we don't use anymore. There are new things that are being put in here. I would say to somebody, you need to know what you're about. Okay, people need to be the minute that they go to your website, they need to know what it is you sell or what it is your mission is. So if it's clothing, you need to have that, right away. You'd be able to tell this is a catalog of clothing, or if it's outdoors, Blackhawk Survival, that's an outdoor website. Melody Clouds, immediately that it's about music. So that needs to be right up in everybody's face. Then you need to state very clearly whether it's a subscription site or what the pricing is. Don't try to get convoluted with your pricing. 20% off of this, and people really want you to streamline that for them. What is this going to cost me? All these tricks that people try to play with, the spinners and all that kind of stuff. Look, it worked for a long time. It had its moment, but people now just click out of it. And the third thing is collect email addresses if you must, but give something in exchange for that bit of information. If you're not willing to hand over something of yours for a bit of my information, then don't bother me. Do not bother me. And then I would say, the last thing is how to get in touch with you. I see this so much now, and it's really starting to bother consumers. Not your customer service. That needs to be on the forefront of your thought. What happens when something goes wrong with this product? How do they get in touch with me? How do I rectify this situation? Because if you ever expect to get a second visit, third visit from your customer, you better be able to handle the first visit. Dave, what do you think?
Imagine a world where your professional growth knows no bounds. Welcome to Witty.com, celebrating 35 years of empowering innovators. Join a community where trust and influence are at the core. Experience exclusive training programs designed to elevate your skills. Our annual summit brings together the brightest minds from multiple industries. As a member, you'll gain access to invaluable resources and support. Network with like-minded professionals who share your passion for innovation. Benefit from mentorship programs that guide you towards success. Celebrate your achievements with a community that recognizes your efforts. Witty.com is more than a membership. It's a journey of growth and success. Join us in celebrating 35 years of innovation and excellence. Take advantage of our special anniversary membership offer today. Unlock your potential with workforce innovation, trust, and influence. Visit Witty.com and become a member today.
Look, I think we've seen it over history, right? Yahoo, for our more seasoned listeners. Yahoo used to be a page of all links, right? What did Google have? One little box to put the search in. Nobody cares about
Absolutely.
the features. No one cares about all the millions of things you can do. They want to know how it helps me get from here to there quicker, solves my problem, right? So I think the more concise we could be, get rid of all the noise, which is hard, right? It's like we're swimming in the water. We don't necessarily see it, and we're living it and breathing it. Sometimes we have that excitement, but I would certainly keep that in mind. And using the story brand methodology that Scott Robertson always talks about, right? It's like, get to the point. What does
So
it do?
this is perfect segue into our next topic, which is social media, right? If you talk to people in social media marketing, the first thing they want to do is to get you on all the platforms, right? Spend money, get on all the platforms, be noisy. But I think that before you even start yelling your message, you need to have a clear message. Wayne, any thoughts on clarity in terms of the message so it can cut through all the noise in social media?
Well, the first thing that you want to do is pick which platform is going to work best for your message. And that's going to evolve as well. I have yet to see anyone that is on every platform equally well.
Right.
That doesn't happen. You have people that are on Instagram and they do Instagram extraordinarily well. You have people that go on YouTube, it's a social platform, or Facebook, and they're very good on their Facebook, but they suck on Instagram, or they're not so good on TikTok, but they're really good in other ways, LinkedIn or whatever. So with social media, you pick your poison. You pick which one that you think you can do the best in, and you get very, very good. Doesn't mean ignore all of them, but again, hey, there's a number of people, there's millions of agencies out there just begging to take your money, and your message may not float the same, it may not sound the same, it may not reverberate the same way on one platform to another, because the demographics are completely different. But one thing I will say about social media, you better find a platform to be on, because that's really the only thing that levels the playing field between you and someone that's 10 steps ahead of you. If you're selling clothing and you have a Etsy store, or you have a Shopify store, and you want to be able to compete with larger stores, Vans, or larger clothing brands, you had better have a social media game, and it better be kicking, because if not, you really are never going to compete with someone with $1 million advertising budget. But you can if you have a very tight influencer social media game.
Let's do this. For those who are trying to figure out what platform to be on, let's do a deep dive. Dave, Facebook. When should you focus your energy on Facebook? What are what businesses, demographic? When would you recommend someone to double down on Facebook?
Well, look, I think a lot of it depends on who your customer is, right? Facebook, Instagram, if you want a certain level market, TikTok used to lean very young. They certainly have a wider range of demographic now. Wayne's favorite, LinkedIn, more of the professional, right? There's a few other things too, right? Twitter, YouTube, the second largest search engine. So I would just say start with where you see most of your users going, and then get specific with it, man. You can spend a lot of money on these platforms without productivity before you finally learn, hey, my messaging might not be correct. Right? I mean, Wayne, talk about Taboola a little bit, or just what you can do with the pixels.
Yeah, look, I tell everybody, listen, your customers are going to tell you where they're coming from. You got to have social media, you got to be across the board. I get that, but no one does social media super well on every platform. It just does not exist. So really what you've got to get good at is where that customer base is coming to you from. And Taboola, it really helps with that, as a matter of fact. I mean, if you're really looking for advertising, it really helps hone down your pixel and tells you, hey, your customer is a 45 to 65-year-old woman, and that's coming from Facebook or Instagram, and this is where you should spend, a little bit extra money or pay more attention. Not on TikTok or not on YouTube, for example, because it's 90% male, and in the age groups are completely skewed away from buying something from you. So you're going to, and the only way you are going to know these things is if you are measuring and looking for these things. The only way you will ever notice those trends is if you are measuring for those trends and you are paying attention to where those people are coming from. Your customers will identify themselves to you if you are listening.
Cannot manage what you don't measure, for sure.
Can't do it.
Man, Dave, I like what you said, go where your customers are instead of you trying to force them to find you on whatever platform of your choice. It's their choice, not your choice.
Right.
That is really solid advice.
Totally. And how do you do that? You ask them. right? I think by the time the company's ready to launch this, probably have several people that bought the
Right.
product. What are their backgrounds? Let's find
Right.
more of them, right?
In today's rapidly evolving healthcare landscape, effective project management is more crucial than ever. Many organizations struggle with achieving their goals due to inefficiencies and lack of direction. Tony Robbins' RPM framework can transform this approach. The RPM framework provides a roadmap for success. You'll soon see how applying these principles can revolutionize healthcare project management and lead to better outcomes for everyone involved. Let's take a deeper dive into applying the RPM framework to healthcare project management. It all begins with defining your outcomes. Think improved patient care, operational efficiency, and data accuracy. These goals set the stage for transformation. Next, understand your why. This is where you align your efforts with greater purposes like patient-centered care, innovation, and sustainability. A clear why gives you direction and purpose. Now, create your roadmap. Engage stakeholders early and often. Conduct readiness assessments to gauge where you are and what you need. Develop comprehensive training programs to bring everyone up to speed. Set concrete milestones and metrics so you can measure progress along the way. And don't forget, communication is key. Regular updates keep everyone aligned and motivated. Lastly, focus on the 20% of actions that will yield 80% of the results. This principle keeps you efficient and effective, concentrating efforts where they matter most. By following these steps, you harness the power of the RPM framework to reimagine project management in healthcare. This approach transforms outcomes and drives innovation in real-world examples. By applying the RPM framework, healthcare organizations can achieve transformative results. Imagine enhanced patient care, streamlined operations, and accurate data management. These are not just possibilities, but tangible outcomes. Real-life examples showcase the remarkable successes already achieved. Increased efficiency in patient care and precise data management demonstrates the framework's profound impact. Now, it's your turn to start the transformation. If you seek guidance or assistance, don't hesitate to reach out. Your journey to better healthcare project management begins now. Your first step in this adventure is contacting Ian Slade at ian@itconsultinggroup.com. He can guide your path from there.
Online listing. If you're a new company, would it be helpful to go on Yelp? I personally don't have a Yelp account. How about you? Do you guys have Yelp for your businesses?
Yes. And look, all business is local. You know, you've heard that saying. I mean, you start local and you expand your business. That's why
Right.
they say expanding your business. If you're not taking care of the people that are, close around you, I remember when Melody Clouds first started, I would go to local fairs and local businesses when they do health fairs, and I would explain my business, and I got a lot of subscribers and a lot of partnerships from that right up front. I took advantage of me personally, the face of Melody Clouds, going out and shaking people's hands, and got myself involved in the community around me. And if you're not doing that, then you're messing up as far as I'm concerned. Now, we were international within weeks of starting. So it wasn't like I was ignoring people in Brazil or people in the Philippines or people in Australia. No. But my original core subscribers came from around me because I would go to volleyball games that my daughter was participating in wearing this shirt, as a matter of fact, and people would ask me about it. And by the time I got home, 10, 15, 20 subscribers would be there waiting for me. So you've got to, and so that's what they're talking about. Not necessarily platform specific. If you don't want to be on Yelp, you don't have to be on Yelp. Till the first person complains about your business, and then you're on Yelp because of that. But what you should, identify yourself on Google. You should have a local page on Facebook. LinkedIn kind of identifies you by your geolocation. So that helps in your SEO. It definitely tells Google a lot about you, where you're located. and it tells your customer the same.
How about you, Dave? Online listings.
Better Business Bureau's another one, Yelp, um,
About Chamber of Commerce,
Chamber of
the
Commerce,
local one.
Rotary Club. Some of
Right.
these kind of really depend on your area, right? And some of them are more effective. The Better Business Bureau office might be great up here, down there may not be as effective, may be oversaturated with different types of businesses that are similar. Yes, I think these are all factors to look at, and I'd really, talk to the people. One of my businesses for the dog camp, we just signed up for the Better Business Bureau. We're the only dog training dog camp up here within, I think 100 miles of our, well, maybe a little less, but maybe like 50 miles of our location. So that's
That's a
amazing.
lot.
We had an A+ rating already, and now we're certified. Is it worth $100 a month for a few months? I think so.
Here's something that I'm excited about. And Wayne, you can probably talk a little bit more about what we're working on in terms of local networking events. So we're obviously virtual right now, but we are planning to have an in-person event. Mind talking a little bit about that, Wayne?
Yeah, 100%. And you know what? It's a lot tougher. That I was just thinking about that as I was going down this list. It's a lot tougher than people give it credit for. But yes, you definitely do need to have, whether you're sponsoring the event and someone else is putting it on, or whether you sponsor the event and you're the one putting it on. This is what we're talking about, is having an event where you can introduce yourself to the local community around you. Because again, that's where a lot of very good partnerships are going to take place, because you get more of a personal, more personal feel. Okay, so yes, 100%. And we are putting together, hopefully, we are putting together a seminar, e-commerce seminar later this year. It is way tougher. It's way tougher to do than to say. I'll put it that way, because evidently, where I live, the costs are prohibitive, and the areas that you can have a seminar like this, the capacities that the three of us want, that's a little bit tough. It's tougher to find.
100%. Yeah, we used to do a lot of events prior to COVID in the organization I was with. And finding a sponsor to cover the venue is tough. Definitely tough, especially if you're looking at more than, 250 people. But I think that there truly is no substitute for in-person activities. Just being amongst, people of the same passion, same organization, same business, and the things that you pick up just while, chatting up while trying to get coffee, things that are hard to do when you're online. So if you have an opportunity to visit, to attend, participate, or organize a local event, I think it's really good. You learn a lot. Utilizing paid advertising. We were just talking about this earlier. Google Ads. Wayne, you have done an amazing job of figuring out how to target potential customers. What advice would you give to people who are just starting out?
So everyone has an idea, or they think they have an idea of who their customer is.
Right.
And where they stumble is they either don't take advice and they go narrowly to who they want to talk to. We have in our head, this is who I want to talk to. That may not be who's listening. It may not be the right audience for you. For us, for example, might surprise you if you look at our analytics, who really resonates with our message. And I'm perfectly, by the way, everybody that's listening to this, I am way satisfied with my audience. Okay. Let it never be said I'm disappointed that one group is listening to me over another group. That nothing can be further from the truth. But that's really where I see a lot of people stumbling. They are determined that this group listen to me, and they'll change themselves, or they'll change the message, as opposed to doing the easier and more advantageous thing, and that is just go with the audience that's receptive to your message. Think of it this way. We've all been married, we've all dated people. It's one thing if you're going to you have somebody in mind, you want to date that person. They may not want to date you. So if you want to date, and if you want, then you may need to shift your attention to someone else, because they're going to be more receptive to dating you. I know that's true in my case. So yeah, that's the way I look at that.
Music can influence your emotional and physical well-being. Solfeggio and binaural beats create frequencies that have been found to help heal your body and alter your mood. Guided meditation can center and calm your mind and soothe your soul. Melody Clouds brings you a massive collection of audiobooks and music files that include 17,000 classic novels and hand-picked authors narrated by professional voice actors. Get access to exclusive content on children's stories and classic Aesop's fables. Melody Clouds is translated into over 140 languages and in more than 200 countries, and has a library that continues to expand monthly. Sign up now for a 60-day trial for just $2.99. Then, keep the music flowing for $5.99 a month. Our yearly membership is now $59.99 for a limited time. Join thousands of subscribers who have found the benefits of these frequencies.
Dave, any dating tips? I'm kidding. Um, now we're talking about.
I was
social
ready to
media.
take notes. Are you kidding me?
Listen, if they try to tell you who they are, believe them.
That's right. That's right.
It's easy. Not just that, but the whole relationship. No.
I have to say, Wayne, and we can talk about it offline. I've seen Dave in action when we were at Bloomberg. He has the swagger.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. Yep. So social media ads. So now that you've figured out where your potential audience hangs out, you're now part of, let's say, Facebook or Instagram. How do you go about doing media ads? And Wayne, you've been masterful at using the right amount of money to gain either the followers or the views that we've had for YouTube. Any advice for people as to how to spend their money on social media ads?
Yeah, it has been pretty amazing, huh? I mean, we have a
like 9 cents. That was crazy.
we have whatever budget. I mean, we can set our own budget. There's nothing stopping us from spending,
Sure.
tons of money. Well, my wife probably, but other than that, there is a but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to prove that that's not necessary. We can have steady, explosive growth without spending a ton of money. We promote each one of these episodes. We spend around $20 per episode to promote it. It doesn't cost, so that should breathe a sigh of relief for a lot of people that are looking at this. But the key to this, Ian, is you need to know who you're trying to reach and the best way to try to reach them. And then you measure to make sure that you are reaching that individual or those people, and you're doing it in a way you're right. We're going to get down to about 7 cents here very shortly, just the way that we're trending. And I would like for it to get to the 4 to 5 cent. I'll be happy, very happy with the 4 to 5 cent. And it's a little bit different when you're actually selling, quote unquote, selling a product, but the theory remains the same. if you are paying attention to what is working and you constantly try to improve that bit by bit by bit by bit, then eventually over time, you are going to spend very, very little bit of money and have explosive growth. Whether you're selling high heel shoes, cargo shorts, whether you're selling chocolate covered strawberries, doesn't matter what it is. That's how you do this. You start and you constantly improve and improve.
What's up with the dating theme? Chocolate covered strawberries?
Just saying, I'm hungry, you know.
So,
It sounded good. It sounded good to me.
It sure did. Maybe in one of our future episodes, Wayne, we can actually take folks behind the scene, because when people hear measure, 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 okay, but what do I measure? So maybe in one of the future scenes, we can show them this is the demographic, this is how you look at this. It might be helpful for folks.
So this is a very good way of expressing this, okay?
Right.
And this is what I'm talking about, Ian. And you know this. I think that's why you kind of baiting me into this, right? So we can sit here, the three of us, and try to figure out what would be interesting to our audience,
Right.
or we can let our audience tell us what they're interested in hearing about.
Yep.
And what I'm saying is, so everyone that listens to this, and if you've gotten to this point in the podcast and you want me to go over step by step how to measure and how to decide when and where, then go to the comment section and you tell the bald guy and you tell Dave, hey, this is what we want to hear from you, chuckleheads. So please do that.
Yeah.
Then subscribe, like, and make a comment that that's what you want to hear. Otherwise, I am going to continue to do my research. I'm going to find out what the audience as a whole wants to hear, and that's what we'll be doing.
Absolutely. Yep. That was
good. That was very good, Ian. Nice job.
We got there. That was great. So all right. Dave, you're an expert at this. With Witty, you've had hundreds upon hundreds of webinars. For folks who are wanting to dip their toes into the webinar waters, any advice in terms of how to get started with that, and also what platforms to use? What would you tell folks?
Well, I'd say look for strategic partners.
Okay.
Certainly, I see a lot of reinventing of the wheel out there.
Mm.
Like when we launched our community as a service platform at the beginning of the year, many organizations, I've just come across so many people, they're starting something, they're fighting uphill battles, they're spending a fortune on advertising. We've had a few now, we have many more lined up to just layer on top of Witty, have rev share for membership. We're starting a reselling program of other programs they offer to our community, right? So there's things you can do that way. LinkedIn, LinkedIn streaming events on LinkedIn is good. I prefer Zoom so we can really get people connected with each other. We've been running most of our events about 30 to 45 minutes of the talk, but then always have time for breakout rooms for connection.
Right.
I like Zoom. We are doing a spaces soon. Nandika and I are going to do one as we kick off next week's Web3 event. So spaces is good. I think Clubhouse was in the right spot at the right time, but I think they just are not, I'll be surprised.
Whatever happened to Clubhouse? You were rocking it in Clubhouse. I remember attending a few.
Yeah, when everybody was stuck at home, it was great, but I'm sure they may have some patents on technology or something, but man, that thing died. Right, but have the content, put stuff up on YouTube, cross-pollinate. Again, where are your users? You don't want to spread it out too thin. You want to kind of create a funnel and then slowly go outward.
Yeah. For those of you who haven't seen or attended a Witty webinar, I strongly advise that you go to LinkedIn and just search Witty, WITI, and you can attend future events as a guest, and then hopefully become a member. It's masterful what Dave does. Cool. Now, in terms of feedback, Wayne, you said good feedback, negative feedback, all feedback is good. And I think you're one of the few people out there that are actually okay with having a conversation around negative feedback. For folks that are new, they get negative feedback, be it on Yelp or Google or maybe YouTube. Any tips, tricks, or advice as to how to deal with negative feedback?
Feeling isolated and disconnected? You're not alone. Many men struggle to find a community that truly understands them. Introducing Odyssey, a place where fellowship and brotherhood thrive. Join us on a journey of personal growth and meaningful connections. At Odyssey, we believe in the power of brotherhood. Our community fosters brotherly connections that last a lifetime. We come together to serve our communities and make a difference. Hear from those who have transformed their lives with Odyssey. Odyssey gave me the brotherhood I was missing. I found other business leaders and entrepreneurs who share my values. Together, we make a real impact in our community. Odyssey is more than a group, it's a brotherhood. Join us and discover the power of true fellowship. Take the first step towards a more connected and fulfilling life. Odyssey, where fellowship, business, and brotherhood unite. For more information, go to yte.com.
Yeah, I get very excited when someone leaves me a negative review, or I used to be invited by a lot of different car dealerships in my area. I became very well known around this area, LA area, for being able to kind of turn that around for people in the auto industry dealerships. Someone would leave a negative, it's a very emotional decision purchasing a car. People tend to get, if they feel like they've been taken advantage of. So I would always go to the general manager and say, listen, this is your opportunity to shine. How are you going to respond to this customer? Have the conversation. They drug you into public. Whoever made the comment is the one that instigated it. Now we're going to have the conversation in public. It could have been over the phone and no one would have known about it. But we get to have this conversation in public because you decided to be a troll on the internet. And I am now going to show everyone how kind and compassionate and how my customer service skills. You just opened an entire problem for yourself. And by responding in a really, positive way and in a very public setting, they've done you the biggest favor that they can possibly do for you. Wow. One of the things I will say about David Layton, and when we first met, I noticed about him, we have this in common. He is a very collaborative business owner. It doesn't matter. David wants to collaborate with anyone and everyone. Doesn't matter how big they are. Doesn't matter, sure. Is he paying attention to people that are, the Salesforces of the world and the IBMs and the, top 500 companies? Yes, of course. But he also takes small business owners, people that are, nobody's ever heard of in their entire life, and he will find a way to collaborate with them. And I think a lot of business owners have a very myopic view of what collaboration actually is. And that is find someone that you can work together well on, invite them in, promote them, and it doesn't look cheesy. And when they promote you in return, that's what we're supposed to be doing here. Okay. And David Layton does that probably better than any business owner I am familiar with. Ian, present company not accepted. He really knows collaboration.
100%. I agree.
And you see it a lot in social media, YouTube, different platforms, Instagram influencers. They're happy to collaborate with someone with several 100,000 more subscribers than they have or followers than they have, but they don't look down to find somebody to help raise. David Layton's not like that. You yourself, you're not like that. And that's one of
Mr.
the
Beast.
reasons that we coalesced into this group, is because we realized, hey, we're stronger. The three of us together, we're stronger than if we were just out there floating around on our own.
Yeah.
But
Talk
look,
about Mr. Beast a little bit, because I think he personifies what you just talked about.
100%. There's no one on the planet with a bigger, larger channel on YouTube than Mr. Beast.
Right.
So there's no one left for Mr. Beast to collaborate with, except he just had 100 of the top content creators in a contest on his channel. None of them are within 100 million followers, subscribers to him.
Wow.
None of them.
Wow.
He's 200 million followers ahead of any of those 100. So
Jesus.
why in the world, with the attitude that seems to be going on, why in the world would he collaborate with those people?
Absolutely.
Because he's a genius, that's why. And he realizes that each of them have hundreds of thousands of followers that some of them have never heard of Mr. Beast, never been exposed to Mr. Beast, and now he has cracked into something that I've been saying for a long time, and that is going to make Mr. Beast impossible to catch. He will be forever the #1 YouTube personality, billionaire at 23 years old, because he's a freaking genius, and, you know, props to him. And everyone should be paying attention to that. I know I certainly am, and the three of us are watching him like a hawk.
If you're listening, Mr. Beast, this is an open invitation to
Oh
come
my
on
God. Just whatever. But I mean, and listen, the same thing with Cody Sanchez. So I see a lot of people in our niche. Okay. Some of them would not even deign to talk to us. Okay. We're not anywhere. We're nowhere near big enough yet.
Right.
However, we are having people that are approaching us, and I welcome that. Anybody that wants to work with Straight Talk Commerce, get in touch with us, and, you know, we're happy to talk turkey. Let's blow it up.
Yeah, I really enjoyed having Nandika in our last episode, and I wasn't sure of the 4 people format, but actually it worked out pretty good. Dave, what do you think?
I thought he did well. I'm excited to have more guests on, you know, especially as our listeners let us know what they want to hear.
Right.
Thinking about some Facebook ad experts, Instagram, TikTok, right? A lot of these areas, there are people honing in on those specific verticals, right? And I think with all of this, as we talked about paid advertising earlier, it's not just paid. It's how do you see all the shorts that Wayne's been driving for us and getting those shorts up, or just other content, articles. We have the e-commerce community that we're, I think, starting in September within Witty, so that it gives people a chance to come in, ask questions, get connected with each other, learn from people's ideas.
100%.
I'm going to be making some changes to the way that we do our shorts. And I'm glad that you mentioned that, Dave, because I can see where people, especially with AI, they get lulled into, hey, I'll let AI create the shorts and we'll just, you know, deal with that. And I look, that's really not the direction that we're going to go in the future. We're going to cut shorts that actually are miniature conversations. They're going to make sense. Already, I've done a heavy editing, and it's going to only get better. So, and by the way, without us beating to death the like and subscribe and notifications and all of that kind of stuff, we get incredibly good engagement from our audience. And I wanted to take an opportunity to thank everybody for engaging us. I wake up every morning to see how many people have subscribed, and I want to know how many people have actually engaged with us. And you asked a question about negative engagement. It may not surprise either of you to know this, but there are entire channels on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok. They base their channel negatively in order to get negative engagement, because engagement is engagement right now to the algorithms. So the channels that are very highly engaged, many of them are negative, trollish. People just love it. They're spoiling for a fight. And so we're not doing that. I'm not suggesting that we do that, but we are definitely appreciative of the engagement that we have with our fans. And I wanted to make sure that everyone that's listening to this they don't lose heart when you get negative comments. Okay, negative comments are not the end of the world. They're the opposite of that. People are engaging with you. Roll. Let's go. Let's go.
Training with Radio Hall of Famer Gary Meyer on podcasting, public speaking, and radio announcing offers numerous benefits that can significantly enhance your skills and career prospects. Gary's extensive professional experience provides a wealth of knowledge and practical insights, particularly in engaging and retaining an audience. For podcasting, this includes mastering the tone of voice, pacing, and the strategic use of humor and emotion to create a strong personal connection with listeners. In public speaking, Gary emphasizes authenticity, clarity, and confidence, teaching techniques such as effective body language, eye contact, and vocal modulation to ensure your message resonates deeply. His insights into audience psychology help you read and respond to real-time reactions, making your speeches impactful and memorable. For radio announcing, Gary's training focuses on developing a rich, expressive vocal presence that conveys personality and warmth, essential for creating a vivid mental picture for listeners. This includes technical aspects like voice modulation, pitch control, and timing, along with practical advice on script preparation and handling live broadcasts. Gary's training includes real-world simulations, providing hands-on experience and personalized feedback to refine your skills. Additionally, networking opportunities with industry professionals and fellow trainees can open doors to new possibilities and collaborations. Gary's comprehensive programs cover content creation, audience analysis, narrative construction, and retention strategies, ensuring a thorough understanding of all aspects of these fields. He also emphasizes personal growth, building self-confidence and resilience, and offers insights into the business side, including monetization and branding strategies. Gary Meyer's training equips you with the tools, confidence, and connections needed to excel in podcasting, public speaking, and radio announcing. Contact Gary on LinkedIn today to get started.
Absolutely. And I think that's a great mindset, and how you articulated the fact that a private conversation you've now turned into public, and here's a chance for you to show the world how you deal with negative comments, and your world-class customer service. They actually did you a favor. That was pretty cool.
Well, you know what, and Ian, that's funny that you mentioned that. I listened to Your Mom's House podcast. It's a podcast with Tom Segura and Christina Pazinski, his wife. And on their podcast, they were talking about this woman in, I believe, New Zealand. If I may be wrong, maybe Australia or New Zealand. She has a coffee shop. She's a heavier woman, and she was doing social media of a day in the life of her. And the comments that people were saying to her were just on another level. They horribly negative. And I wanted to reach into social media and start whooping people. I'm a father of 3 girls, and I cannot imagine anyone saying some of the things that she was things where people were saying to her. And she became famous, massively famous, based on these negative comments. And her reaction, it was her reaction that made her famous, not the negative, trollish, dipshit comments. It was her reaction to them, and her realizing, hey, these people are actually making me money. The engagement that I am getting from this, even though it's negative, I'm going to stay positive and put dollars in my pocket. And that's what she did. And so now the opposite has happened. Her social media, she has millions of defenders now. And the
Wow.
moment someone comes in and says something negative or derogatory, they get body slammed by the comment section. They get ratioed right off the platform. It is hysterical. So look, this is social media. Learn it. Learn how to use it. It's neither good nor bad. It's ambivalent. But it's if you know how to use it for good, you can do a hell of a lot of good with it.
Absolutely. So, Dave, in order to get more engagement, you want to talk about a few conspiracies that you're thinking about? I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Save that for a different podcast.
That's a
Well, we can do that podcast. That's not a problem.
No, I think that was really good because I know that a lot of people are scared of jumping on social media because of the negative comments. Like they don't know how to deal with rejection. They don't know what to do if someone says your product sucks or you made a mistake or something like that. So I think that was really, really good advice. I want to pivot a little bit to promotions. So what is the smart way of providing discounts and deals, referral programs? How do you do this without being too naggy or without bombarding your customers with these promos?
Carefully.
Carefully.
People like doing discounts willy-nilly.
Right.
I was working with very recently working with a company. They were doing a 25% discount. They did not think of shipping in their discount, and that 25% discount, if once you included shipping, really turned them upside down. And if people had taken advantage of it the way they were hoping, it would have ruined their business. So you got to be very, very careful when you're offering free shipping. As a matter of fact, there's a very famous Shark Tank company that went into business with Mark Cuban, and nobody checked that. No, the business blew up, and it cost Mark Cuban millions of dollars because he was helping this company. I can't remember now off the top of my head which one it was, but they wanted to take that pop from Shark Tank. They were on Shark Tank, and the minute and so they gave them, I think it was some kind of cookies. I have the woman, picturing the woman in my head right now, and I'll have to do some research. Maybe a good trivia question. But anyway, she did not take into consideration that if she offered free shipping and 25% off, she was going to be losing about 30%, from the product. And it absolutely bankrupted the company.
Wow.
So be careful. These things are not, on the spur of the moment. No one I know does a 25% discount just off the top of their head and, whatever.
Up they go.
No. These things are planned out 3, 4, 5 months at a time. You already know what the mathematics are. You already know, hey, sometimes you hope it fails, because if it's too successful, it's going to blow you right out of the water.
Wow. That's amazing. And I've seen even bigger companies do this. Michelle got a promo code for one of the shoes that she uses for work. What is that? Figs, one of those medical shoe companies. And the code was like $250 off. So the shoe was like $375. She ended up paying something like, I don't know, $60. And I'm like, I hope this code is only one-time use, because the discount was insane. Even she was surprised about how steep the discount was. But even big companies, Figs is, I think they're in the hundreds of millions now, make this mistake. So you're absolutely right. Be mindful of these discounts and make sure that you did the math in the back end.
Hey, listen, I've worked for a number of companies. A luggage company I worked for did the same kind of thing. They offered a COVID kit that cost like $35 to put together. because no one was buying luggage during COVID.
Sure.
And so they put together a $35 COVID kit. And then on top of that, they offered so it creeps in on you. And thank God that the individual responsible for that, thank God that a ton of people did not take advantage of it, because had that been wildly successful, he would have buried that luggage company.
True. Very true.
Same thing with a teeth whitening. Used to work with a teeth whitening company. They did the same exact thing. What they did was they offered 50% off, and they didn't limit it one per customer, one per household. And so
Right.
you would have people that would buy this teeth whitening product, tons of it, and then go sell it at flea markets around them. a nationally known teeth whitening brand, and you can have it for $15. And it just, look, man, you're shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah, this is a good reminder, because again, even multi-million-dollar companies make this mistake. So it's so easy when you're starting out. You're excited, you want to get your product out there, but be mindful of the numbers. Lastly, referral programs. So Dave, you do a good job at creating referrals for companies and for individuals. Any advice as to how to go about doing referral programs?
Well, I think know your customer. Sometimes them putting money up front could be better than just offering something where they can
Right.
make money on the back end. You don't really get the commitment. Understand
Got
your
it.
costs and how much legwork it's going to take to execute. I think for all these things, like what Wayne was just talking about with cost of goods, right? And what you're selling. We see these tools, freecreditreport.com. No, it's not free. I'm giving them my data. That's how they monetize things, right? The social media, the free social media apps, right? Or if I sell something, if I'm taking a small loss, maybe I have another play in the background. So I just think understanding the different ways to monetize what you're doing too is very important.
Wow. Well, there you have it, folks. That was our tips for today as to how to gain new customers if you're a small business. And Wayne, for those who are, let's say, maybe a few months into this, things aren't starting to pick up, and they're thinking, maybe I made the wrong decision. What advice would you give to folks who are starting out and starting to feel like, things aren't going as fast as I hope it would be? How do you keep the momentum, keep motivated, and keep showing up?
Plan. We
Yeah.
talk about this all the time. Anybody that fails to plan plans to fail. You put the whiteboard back up, and you look at it from a different angle, and you start writing out, all right, look, this is what happened. Every single thing you do is a learning experience. Okay. And so, number one, let's diagnose the issue. You're a doctor. Okay. You are the doctor of your business. And so
Right.
now we've got to diagnose what the problem was. Why did this medication, this ad thing that we ran, why did that fail? What were
Right.
the side effects?
Right.
The side effects, hey, look, at least did people learn about our company? Because maybe it wasn't the fact that we only did it in one dose. We need to it's multiple doses with this particular ad campaign.
Right.
So or maybe we applied it and we gave the wrong type of medication, right? It's wintertime and people are not buying cargo shorts right now. Okay, so maybe we should have put a special on winter parkas. So you've got to diagnose what the problem is, and get outside. Look, bring in consultations and say, hey, friends, this is my patient. Tell me, what am I not seeing?
Right.
That's the mindset I want people to start, thinking about when they're talking about their business. You're parenting a child here. And so, that didn't work. That form of discipline didn't work. You're going to find out something else, because it's your responsibility. And I think also, Ian, people give up way, way, way too early. They get it dissatisfied. They didn't get it immediately, and it didn't work right away. And man, listen, most people stop 1 or 2 from success. They stop right before they learn the swing, right before they, the world
Right.
opens up to them.
Right. Wow. So, question for you, Wayne, for those listening to our podcast, if they have questions about their business, they want advice, they want that consultation that you just talked about, can they put that in the chat and we cover it at some point?
100% A, and B, I promised you guys, one, for about an hour or so at some point this week, we are going to do a Straight Talk Live. So people can come on to the live. You got to watch. I'm not telling anybody when I'm going live. And David and I'm going to call David and I'm going to go, hey, get Ian on the horn. We're going live. I'm going to give you guys
This is
15
it.
minutes to put a shirt on and we're going to go live and we're going to start talking to people. It is going to be a blast. I promise you that. But yes, that's what I'm talking about. And look, engage us in the chat or in the comments and ask your questions. Especially if you disagree with anything that David says, you join the club. Of course, we want to hear from you. We certainly want to hear from you first. So everyone clear the comments for that. But yeah, I mean, look, we're very approachable.
Just put on shirt and for David shorts. So, all right.
Yeah.
Well, gents, always a pleasure. Dave, Wayne, this was a great episode. Thank you for your time and look forward to seeing the comments. So please engage and we might even have them as a guest.
That is entirely possible. If somebody comes to me with a really good scenario, a really good business and a good business question, that would be a very good way to get on this podcast. There's no question about that. That's a very good point.
Implementing what we're sharing and showing success, and let's talk to them about it so we can all share.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Even bonus points if you're from outside of the United States as well, by the way. I have a personal affinity for international business. I don't call me crazy, but yeah, for sure. Oh, and by the way, if anybody wants to work with any of the 3 of our businesses, we'd love to hear from you as well.
Absolutely. We'll give you 15 minutes of spotlight. Just put your name, your business, and the issue you're dealing with, and we'll be more than happy to help diagnose it for you. Awesome. Well, those are the treats that you were talking about, Wayne. This is what we'll give you in order to get more
100%.
engagement.
Yes.
Beautiful. With that,
We'll
Dave,
see you
thank you so
episode
much.
11 in double
And
digits.